Hello, ninth grade. This video is to help remind you how to upload and create your reduced and enlarged image. So the first thing is to find this plus in the Desmos calculator. We're going to add an image to our graph. And so you can see I have a bunch of different images saved to my desktop, and I'm going to choose one specifically right here with me cooking with a spatula. Now, if you notice, it's centered at the origin. I could click on the object and drag it to a place where I want it. Let's say I want it right there. Or I can also be specific about which center I want my image located. So we'll just say 5, 5. And so this is the original. I'm going to reduce that a little bit, zoom out. So this is the original figure. But if I wanted to reduce it, I need a second image. And then notice they're the same size, but I want this one to be smaller. So I'm going to reduce it by half. And what is 10 divided by 2? 5. And if my width is 5, I want to make sure my height is also 5 so that all the corresponding dimensions are half. Then I want to move this over so that it's to the right of my image. And let's say at 12 and 2. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe move it up just a little bit. There we go. And now for the third image will be larger. Oh, I forgot one thing. Remember how we can make this a little bit lighter so that the bolder original image is more clear and this one is a little more faded. So let's do that for the enlarged image as well. So pulling up a third image of the same. And notice again, it's the same as the original, but we're now going to go the other way. Instead of multiplying by a half, we're now going to multiply by 2. We're going to enlarge it. Oops. And notice it is much bigger, but let's also make it more faded. Say 0.6. And then let's move the center so that it is over in the 25, 20 area. Let's say 20, and we'll move it up to, let's say, 10. Awesome. Notice that I have my original first, then the reduced, and the enlarged. The next thing we need are the tables of corresponding points. So I'm going to go back to the original. There we go. Clicking on the original, and it will highlight it for you. Right below this image, I am going to create a table. And now I'm also going to change the color of my points because you notice some of my clothing in my Bitmoji is black. So I want to make sure that the points are darker or lighter. So from here, I go up to settings, and then I can choose any color. And I'm going to choose red for my original. And then what I'm going to do is zoom in and focus on my original object. I see a point at my ankle at 1 and, I'm sorry, not 1. My apologies. The first number would be 4 and then 1. And notice that point at my ankle. I also see a point up by the hat, just on the edge of the chef hat, and that is at 3 and 7. So notice that point on the hat. And then I would say my glasses, or maybe the other top of my head, the end of the hat, would be at 5 and 8. And then lastly, I would pick a point maybe on my hand or an elbow, or maybe on the spatula at 7 and 6. Okay, so now we have our table of points for the original. Now I'm going to drag the graph over and focus on the reduced. So notice that I am, oh, maybe that's too small, but notice I am reducing, and now the spaces and the scales are on a half. So let's build the table for this reduced figure. Add item, table, and notice the points are going to be green. So when we look at the original, we have a point on the ankle. Well, notice this figure has a point at 11.5 and 1. 11.5, oops, and 1. And there's that point. And then we need some points by the hat. So I'm going to use 11 and 4. And then I'm also going to use the other end of the hat at 12 and 4.5. And then lastly, look at the spatula is at about 13 and 3.5. 13 and 3.5. Now we have all of our reduced points. I'm now going to zoom back out so we can focus on the enlarged figure. Now let's scroll down to that enlarged figure. Here it is. And now we need a table of corresponding points for our enlarged figure. And notice they're going to be red points, and that will show up nicely. So notice at the ankle, we're at about 17 and 2. 17 and 2. Oh, I'm sorry, 18. 18 and 2. There we go. And then we need the 2 points on the hat. So I am going to say 16 and 14. And the other point I'm going to call at 20 and 16. And then the last point on the spatula, I'm going to estimate at 24 and then up about 12 spaces. And there we are. So in Desmos, you now will have 3 images and 3 corresponding tables of points. Please make sure to save your graph. You could call it your dilation project. And save it. And then you could take screenshots of your images and your tables and put them in your Google Slides. If you are not able to do screenshots, make sure that you copy this link and share it with me, or you can share graph this way by copying the link here. Either way, make sure you share it with me. Thank you for watching the video.